Hey Internet, it's your old friend Dominic here with the All-American Casino Guide, the only channel dedicated to providing you with all the tips, tricks, tutorials, and trivia you need to know about casinos and casino games. Today's video is all about poker, and specifically online poker, and we're going to help all you confused poker enthusiasts in the US by going state by state, explaining the state laws that are going to affect you. Before we go into this, I'm going to give a quick reminder to all the newcomers to the channel or all the people who haven't already subscribed to go ahead and slam that subscribe button and ringy-ding-ding that notification bell. It's the only way you're going to guarantee you're going to get all our updates in the near future. Now, when it comes to online poker play and the state laws, it can definitely be a very daunting task trying to get your head around the legal text. Where can an average man really get a little bit of entertainment online nowadays? Okay, I'm talking about poker, you dirty-minded people. But let's get back to the topic. At the center of the debate of the legality of online poker play is the classification of poker as a game of skill or a game of chance. This has been a long-standing debate how you would classify poker. Should it be categorized as a game of skill or a game of chance? And as someone who's played a lot of poker online and in live play, I would definitely classify it as a game of skill. But really, you don't really care what I think because I'm not a lawyer, and we're looking at how the law looks at it. In August 2012, a federal judge in Brooklyn, Judge Jack B. Weinstein, ruled that poker is in fact not a game of chance, but rather a game of skill. According to Judge Weinstein, the most skillful professionals earn the same celestial salaries as professional ball players. One would think that the categorization of poker as a sport would reach the court system, as it's considered a mind sport by professional players and is even broadcast on ESPN, which is a sports channel after all. Since one is still betting money, though, in poker, it needs to be classified as gambling, of course. And placing it in the skill or chance box of games is something that the legal entities are going to need to do in the near future, and they need to differentiate it from pure luck games such as slot machines. So when it comes to online gambling laws, we're not completely operating in the dark without any sort of legal precedent. In fact, there's been some legal precedents that we've been using to interpret our laws in the current decades we're living in that date back to the 20th century. This example being the Interstate Wire Act of 1961. Now, the Wire Act does not implicitly make online poker illegal, and I will explain why. The Federal Wire Act, or as it's officially termed, the Interstate Wire Act of 1961, was passed to get a handle on organized crime. But quite a few decades later, in 2005, the Justice Department felt that some broadcasting companies and publishers were in fact aiding and abetting in the online gambling activities, which of course were illegal. The companies that were affected included Google, Yahoo, and Infinity Broadcasting. 6 years later, though, this was reversed, and the Interstate Wire Act of 1961 gained a new meaning in the eyes of the law, that it did not officially affect or apply to poker, only to sports betting. Which brings us to the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act of 2006. The Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act of 2006, commonly referred to as the UIGEA. Now, does the UIGEA make online poker illegal? Well, not implicitly. Because according to the UIGEA, the Unlawful Internet Gambling Enforcement Act, unlawful internet gambling means to place, receive, or otherwise knowingly transmit a bet or wager by means of the internet where such a bet is unlawful under any law in the state in which the bet is initiated, received, or otherwise made. The wording illegal internet gambling was never really specified, so the UIGEA does not make online poker illegal, on a federal level anyway, but rather defers to the state laws and what happens on the state level. As a result of the law, sites such as Party Poker, bwin, and Pacific Poker closed their US-facing operations. Many other sites like PokerStars and Full Tilt are still in operation to US players. Since events like Black Friday, though, the US poker industry and the public opinion on it is still recuperating, even after almost a decade. So what exactly is this Black Friday event I'm talking about? I'm not talking about that classical Black Friday event we all know, the day after Thanksgiving, when we all run out and try to get flat screen TVs for a fraction of the regular price. I'm talking about Friday April 15th, 2011, and how it made a severe impact on online poker and the continued legality of it inside the United States. In 2011, there were approximately 2 million Americans that were regularly playing online poker for money. But that year, the Justice Department shut down 3 sites with the highest traffic volume and froze 76 bank accounts in 14 separate countries. These 3 websites were Full Tilt Poker, PokerStars, and the Ceres networks. The Justice Department charged them with fraud and money laundering and argued that they had violated the UIGEA. The companies fought back and claimed that online poker wasn't implicitly included in the act and therefore no violation had occurred. By the end of the legal battle in 2012, PokerStars and Full Tilt had settled, but did not admit to any wrongdoing. And PokerStars even ended up buying Full Tilt as part of the deal. This event definitely affected the 2 million regular poker players in America, and as mentioned earlier, the US poker industry is still recovering. Which brings me to my next point, Washington State. Washington State is the only state where it is implicitly illegal to play poker for money. That's clear in their state laws. And in 2006, Washington made online poker a felony. That's right, a state that legalized recreational marijuana made poker illegal. And incidentally, 2006 happens to be the same year that they made bestiality a felony. Ironic, don't you think? So much for that premise of freedom. If you do live in Washington, do not play poker online. Let's hope the law changes for now, but it's not worth going to prison for. Now, we've talked about the states that have banned poker. Let's talk about the states that have embraced online poker play, namely Delaware, Nevada, and New Jersey. These 3 states are very friendly towards gamblers. For you to play online poker in Delaware, all you need to do is be 21 and operate your poker playing device, your desktop computer, your laptop, or your smartphone from within the state lines. The online poker market is still relatively small though in Delaware, and that's because the state taxes 100% of the first $3.75 million that any gambling company generates as revenue. So entering the state as a casino requires quite a bit of investment and financial backing. Now, when it comes to Nevada, Nevada has legalized online poker for only 2 sites. That is the WorldSeriesOfPoker.com and UltimatePoker.com, although it's worth noting that only the WSOP remains operational. As in Delaware, players must still be of legal gambling age and must operate their computer or gambling device from within the state lines. It's also worth noting that the Nevada state taxes online gambling revenues from these websites at the same rate, 6.7%, as all their other gambling revenue. Now, when it comes to New Jersey, things get a little bit different, as any online gambling site is required to be linked to a land-based casino within the borders of that state. And another thing to note is that they tax the revenue of online casinos at 15% compared to the 8% they tax their physical brick-and-mortar casinos. All gambling activities, including poker, are legal within this context. When it comes to other states, there are other states that allow online poker playing, but they do not specifically mention it in their laws. Bottom line is, if it's not specifically made illegal, it's okay to play. So the lack of laws on the books in some states does not equate to the committing of an actual crime. At least 9 other states have proposals to legalize and regulate poker on the internet. Gambling for money is commonly illegal, and that's where the line is commonly drawn. Some poker sites use an idea such as gold coins instead, like for example Global Poker, which is actually a sweepstakes site which is legal in 31 US states. Players will buy promotional gold coins, which cannot actually be redeemed for cash. Instead, when buying these gold coins, they receive a bonus in sweeps cash, which then can be cashed in for real US dollars. Each hand of poker is in fact considered more of a mini sweepstakes than actual gambling. So that concludes our guide to the legality of online poker play in the US. I hope that cleared things up for you. But if you still have any questions, make sure to write them down as a comment down below. And guys, while you're at it, if you enjoyed this video, clickety-clack that like button. Go ahead and slam that subscribe button. Ring-a-ding-ding that notification bell. And if you could, make sweet love to the share button, because we know that there are other people out there that might not know about the channel already. My name's Dominic. This is the All-American Casino Guide reminding you, play responsibly.